ka man dalhin ang kapalaran, iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, pinagmulan at babalikan, konting tiis na lang at hanggang sa araw na yan ay asal. Kami nandito lang, sabay na pakinggan ang mga kwento nyo, isigaw natin sa mundo, bagong bayani namin kayo. Sipag at tapang nyo, hinialay sa mundo, sinasaludo namin kayo. Pilipino, itaas ang noo, ipagmalaki mo ang galing nyo, isigaw sa mundo.
Magandang hapon UK at Europe, magandang gabi Pilipinas. Saan man po kayo naroroon, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ihahatid namin sa inyo ang kwento ng iba-ibang mukha ni Juan sa special program live streaming Juan EU Konek Kontra Corona here on Facebook, kasama po ang YouTube. Ako po si Eclarinal.
Samahan po ninyo kami sa mga natatanging kwento ng mga Pinoy sa Europa na mag-iiwan ng aral, impormasyon, ngiti at pag-asa. Ako po si Kiara Gregorio.
Ito po ang kwentong Pinoy, kwentong migrante, kwentong Juan EU Konek Kontra Corona. I'm Crystal Dias.
For our Kontra Corona project for 6 months, the National Lottery Community Fund is graciously funding this project to serve the Filipino communities in England, UK, and beyond. So now, many parents are apprehensive in sending back their kids to school when classes open on September 3. How will school reopen in the time of coronavirus? Is it safe to send back your kids to school? What are the new rules set in place? Sa Pilipinas naman po, muling naantala ang pagbubukas ng eskwela. May pwede bang matutunan sa estratehiya ng UK ang Pilipinas? We will have on the show a proud Pinoy UK educator to answer some of these questions.
At dahil nasa phase lockdown pa rin po tayo, ibabahagi ko naman sa inyo ang mga pwedeng matutunan habang nasa bahay. I will share my expertise in applying makeup at abangan niyo po yan sa second segment kasama ang travel tips ni Eclarinal.
And for our Public Service Immigration 101, we will be joined by Solicitor Crystal Dias. Crystal, what will you have for us today?
This week, I will be discussing modern slavery. It is real. It is happening everywhere. It is happening in the UK.
So Crystal will be joining us on our Immigration 101 segment later. Now, makakasama na po natin para sa ating first segment ang ating guest. So for a parent like me, I have so many questions related to the opening of classes in the UK. Kaya nagpapasalamat po kami at nagpaunlak sa imbitasyon natin ang ating guest ngayon, si Edison David. Makakasama po natin siya para sa usapang balik eskwela. Welcome to our show, Edison David. Magandang hapon.
Hapon sa Rose and your viewers.
Hi, Edison. Before asking you the questions, yung mga importanteng tanong ng mga magulang dito sa UK, narito po ang mga nakaka-proud na achievements ng ating guest.
He was based in London since 2001, head of a 3-form entry primary school in southwest London, Granton Primary, schools inspector for the Office of Standards for Education, associate school improvement advisor for the London Borough of Lambeth, advising head teachers on a range of issues relating to school improvement. He was also recently appointed as part of the Primary Head Teacher Reference Group, which advises the Secretary and the Ministers on education policies. He is also a Lifetime Fellow, College of Teachers in England. led a school to be awarded as England's Primary School of the Year in 2006, Bagong Bayani awardee, and of course, a father of 3 young adults.
Hi, ano naman to, nakakatuwa po na achievement ng
Opo.
isang kababayan natin dito sa United Kingdom. So, Edison, are you ready for our first question? Bago yung mga tanong ng mga magulang katulad ko, siguro ang tatanong muna namin sa iyo yung personal question. How did you start your career here in the UK?
Oh, yes, that was a long time ago, isn't it? 2000. During that time, I've been teaching in the Philippines for 7 years. No? Natuturo na ako doon for 7 taon in a secondary school. So I was an employee of the Department of Education, but also I was an associate professor for AMA University, which opened a branch in Tarlac City. But during that time, I had my eldest son was born, but he was a bit sickly. So each time we went to the hospitals, my bills would amount to about 200,000 or so. And I said, oh my God, my savings are being depleted. So I have to look for greener pasture somewhere else. But also during that time, I wanted to seek opportunities for further professional development because I thought that I've exhausted all the possible professional development opportunities in the Philippines. So I went to Google. So I Googled for teaching vacancies abroad, but I wanted it to be specifically in the United Kingdom because I really want to, I really like the educational setup here. So I sent an email to a teaching agency. It was a flop in the first instance because it went to a teaching agency which was based in Adelaide in Australia. But Catherine McNee, who received my application, gladly forwarded it to the teaching agency here in the United Kingdom. And I was interviewed. I remember my interview was in one of the branches of Jollibee in Tarlac. So they did the interview there. And during that time, I was just at the right place at the right time, because if you probably remember, around 2000, 2002, there was an acute shortage of teachers here. So the United Kingdom was recruiting teachers, specifically the antipodes from South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. So I was here at the right place at the right time. And that's how it started.
And you came to the UK what year?
That was 2000. I think it's the beginning of 2000, ending of 2000, beginning of 2001.
So 2 decades na po kayo na nandito sa United Kingdom. Nakaka-proud. Oh, nakaka-proud naman. But of course, you still understand Tagalog, no?
Oo naman.
Oo naman, kasi yan ang mother tongue natin. Ano kaya po yung pwedeng advice na ibigay ninyo doon sa mga kababayan natin na gustong magkaroon ng karera katulad ng career ninyo in the education sector here in the UK?
Yeah, I think the most important thing of any career is to actually skill yourself up. You have to skill yourself up, but also you need to acquire as much knowledge as possible. Because I think sometimes, I had this question to me several times. And the first question they ask is that, what is your qualification? Actually, what qualifies you to a job more than diploma is actually the ability to do the job. So you have to be confident that you can do the job. So ano ba yung mga kailangan natin? So you can teach here. First, you should have a very good, strong command of the language. Hindi pwede yung nangangapa ka sa English kasi yung medium of instruction mo English. So you have to have a really strong command of that. Second, kailangan meron kang malawak at malalim na understanding of curriculum. Yung mga tinatawag nilang pamantayan ng pagtuturo. So you should have a good understanding of curriculum design, curriculum approach. Dapat yung pedagogy mo malawak. No? And that applies not only to teachers in the Philippines, but actually applies to every single teacher. Kahit yung mga teacher dito, kailangan alam nila kung ano yung disenyo ng curriculum, dapat alam nila kung ano yung approach sa curriculum, dapat marami silang pedagogy, strategy on the sleeves that they can use. And knowing that is also the belief na there's no such thing as a global boundary. Kasi kung minsan, natatakot silang mag-try na mag-apply kasi sasabihin nila, baka hindi nila ako pansinin. You have to have a go at it. And that's what happened to me. Because during that time, wala naman tayong mga teachers na nag-a-apply dito sa UK. So I just, I was so confident. I just went online. I Googled it, and then I went ahead.
Okay, so that's a good point, no? Give it a go. Kasi kung hindi mo naman talaga susubukan, how would you know kung ikaw pala talaga yung hinahanap nila na candidate for the job? Hindi ba, Kiara?
Opo, tama po yun. You'll never know unless you try.
Of course.
Yes. Now, you sent us some, you shared with us, Edison, some photos, and one photo is, you
Mhm.
know, captured our eyes kasi kasama mo ang isa sa mga royal. Chad, can we show that photo? We've been waiting for some photos to be shown. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Super.
the yes, that's the future king of the UK.
Yeah.
Now tell us the story behind the photo.
Right. Yung dati ko kasing eskwelahan, of which I was head teacher for about 6 or 7 years, that was in Vauxhall. So if you know Vauxhall, it is Southeast London. And a few yards away from the school is the Oval Cricket Ground. Yung Oval Cricket Ground kasi, ang may-ari yan ng Duchy of Cornwall. So, hindi si Prince Charles may-ari, pero lahat ng heir sa throne, sila ang nagmamay-ari ng Oval Cricket Ground. And during that time, I think the Oval Cricket Ground was hosting the finals for the international cricket competition, but we do have a long-standing partnership with them. So I was invited over for the reception to launch the international cricket competition, and Prince Charles was then the guest of honor.
Oh, so you had an opportunity to meet him.
Yeah.
Bigyan mo naman kami ng konting impormasyon. What was he like in person?
He was very down to earth. Actually, he was the one who initiated the conversation. So ako nakatayo lang ako doon. I was having coffee because it was an afternoon tea event. So of course, there were a lot of security things that happened before. Though they would have to ask for your identification, your passport. You have to. It's shrouded in secrecy. Hindi ka pwedeng bigyan ng information right until the day before the actual event. So he came up to me and started asking me questions. I think yung question na tinatanong niya sa akin yun, something about school funding. So what do I think about school funding? I know he's not supposed to be political, but Prince Charles, knowing Prince Charles, just couldn't help himself. So, and then we started talking about it. And then I think he cracked a joke about, would I be willing to have a go at cricket? And I said, I don't think so. So, yeah.
That must be an unforgettable moment for you, Edison.
Yeah, definitely. It was a proud moment for me as well because hindi naman ako royalist, pero I look up to the royal family because I think they've done a lot for this country through the ages.
I know. Kiara, meron ka bang meeting with a royal?
I wish po. Not everyone will have that opportunity.
I had, but it's for another another show, Prince Albert of Monaco. But we'll talk about that sa ibang segment natin, meeting a royal. Anyway, doon na po tayo sa tanong ng ating mga kababayan. Ang tanong ngayon, ang pinag-aalala ng mga kababayan nating Pinoy dito sa UK dahil magsisimula na yung klase sa September 3, are the schools COVID ready?
They are, indeed. Si Professor Chris Whitty, yung chief medical advisor natin, ngayong umaga lang sabi niya na the children are more likely to be harmed by not returning to school next month than if they catch coronavirus. There is tatlo yung reason kung bakit natin binubuksan yung mga eskwelahan, and these were provided by the Department for Education. First, yung prevalence ng virus mababa na. The prevalence of virus in the UK, in England specifically, has this decreased considerably from the position of the virus in March. So bumaba na talaga. Tapos pangalawa, we now have a test, track, and trace system. I know yung iba nire-refute nila. Is it robust? Is it rigorous? It doesn't matter. We have the testing capacity, and we also have the capacity to track and trace. Pangatlo, the negative impact of the closure of the schools to children's education and well-being masyado nang mataas. And if we're going to keep the schools closed for a longer period, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for our children and for the system also to catch up in the end. So are they COVID-free? They are not. There's no such thing as a COVID-free environment, but they are COVID secure. And what people don't know is the things that are happening in the background. Ang dami. Kasi before we even, for example, we reopened the school. Di naman kami talaga nagsara, di ba? The schools were actually partially open for key workers, for vulnerable pupils. Pero nung nag-open kami widely for specific year groups. Year 1, reception year 1 and year 6. We started reopening them in June 1st. Before we opened, ang dami talagang guidance na ina-navigate ng mga school leaders. For me, that was a lot of job, a lot of work. Pero it was necessary work. It was imperative because the health and safety of our pupils and of our adults are also at stake. So yung risk assessment mo, ang laki. You have to navigate voluminous guidance both from the Department for Education. Tapos, titignan mo rin yung guidance na binigay ng Public Health England. At the same time, you work alongside the teaching unions because you will have to demonstrate that the teachers and the support staff, tsaka yung auxiliary staff mo, are actually safe while coming back to school. So yung risk assessment natin sa bawat eskwelahan, Rose, malalim. We look at every single opportunity. Even yung as simple as kung ilang bang gate ang available. So, sa mga gates na yon, anong time darating itong class na to? Susundan siya ng anong class? Yung congregation ng parents, how are we going to avoid the parents congregate? Alam mo naman mga parents, no? They like talking to each other. So, how are we going to ensure na hindi sila nagko-congregate? But also, how are we going to ensure na yung mga adults natin safe din? So there are lots and lots of things in the risk assessment. My risk assessment for my for my school actually runs to 46 pages. And it includes every single thing. Lahat ng mga possible risks, i-identify mo at maglalagay ka ng actions to make sure that those risks are mitigated to the fullest. To ensure na yung mga teachers mo, they're confident to come back, but also the parents are confident to send their children to school. Kasi kung hindi sila confident, there's no point of you opening the school and no one's coming. No? So talagang napaka-importante na the parents feel confident that they are sent to school. So ano yung mga actions na gagawin namin? For instance, I'll give you examples of them. First, gagawin nating malinaw sa lahat ng mga parents, sa lahat ng mga contractors, sa lahat ng mga visitors, sa lahat ng staff. Kapag nakaramdam kayo ng kahit anong sintomas ng COVID, you're not allowed to be in school at all. Second, meron tayong tinatawag na robust hand and respiratory hygiene, yung catch it, bin it, kill it. Also, yung mga estudyante, pagdating pa lang nila ng school, they will have to wash their hands for 20 seconds. Tapos, yung mga washing regime natin, marami, merong mga kanta na ginawa so the children can actually enjoy washing their hands. And they do that across the day. So, hindi pagdating nila, pagkatapos ng isang subject siguro, they wash their hands again. So, nandun yun. Tapos, yung cleaning arrangements natin, Rose, it's a bit more robust than before, no? So ang cleaners ko kasi dumadating yan sa school 3:30, so they have 2 hours to deep clean the whole school. Pero what I did now is I asked 2 or 3 of my cleaners, they come during the day, so they wash the toilets, every hour. They also they also wash or sanitize yung mga tinatawag nating constantly touched things like yung mga doorknobs, yung mga surfaces, so nandun yun. Tapos meron tayong tinatawag na enhanced engagement sa test and trace system. So kapag, for example, may nagkasakit, we make sure na yung nagkasakit, either staff or pupil, magkakaroon ng testing. Kapag nag-test sila ng positive, we will then have to work with the local health protection team who will then advise us on which part of the school we're going to isolate. Kaya nga, yung mga klase natin, they are in a bubble na tinatawag natin. Dati, noong June 1st, ang mga bubble natin, bubble of 15 lang. So, bawat isang klase, 15 lang, hinati natin. Pero ngayon, dahil lahat ng mga bata, babalik na, we will have what you call a bubble of 30. So, yung 30 na mga bata na yun, lahat din silang magkasama. They will not have any contact whatsoever with the other 30s. So, kung nagkaroon ng case doon sa bubble ng 30, yung 30 lang i-isolate natin, so the rest of the school can still proceed with their classes, with their education.
That's quite interesting to see, ano? Kasi syempre, I'm a parent, nakatanggap na rin ako nung measures that the school will put into place na kailangan ng lahat ng magulang ay sundin. Pero yung tanong ko, nasagot nyo na rin po, no? Kasi na-explain nyo sa akin yung bubble. Kasi in my head, nag-aalala ko kasi syempre yung mga bata, hindi mo sila maiiwasan na maglaro. They mingle with so many different groups. So kung meron nga yung bubble na yon na sinasabi ninyo, that will at least protect your children, at easy to identify also kung saan ang galing, kung magkaroon man ng sakit yung bata at umuwi. So malalaman mo kaagad at ito yung grupo na pwede mo talagang i-protect na. Now, ang tanong po natin is, kung yung mga sistema na ito are put in place, tapos magsisimula tayo sa Setyembre, sa Pilipinas, so na-delay naman ng konti yung pagbubukas ng klase. I don't know if you're following yung mga patakaran sa Pilipinas at yung mga paghahanda na ginagawa doon. Ano kaya yung pwedeng matutunan din ng Philippines from the way we do things here in the UK? Kasi meron din tayong mga kamag-anak sa Pilipinas at nag-aalala rin sila kung dapat ba ngayong taon ay pumasok na sa eskwela ang mga anak nila in the Philippines.
Yeah, I think that the first thing that people need to do is that if you work in education, you have to put the pupils in the forefront of what you're doing. Kapag ang iniisip mo yung kapakanan ng mga pupils, you will push heaven and earth to open the schools safely for them. I think that's important. Pangalawa, yung mga may hirap na pupils, kasi dito, one of the driving force why we want to open the schools is because the disadvantaged pupils are getting further disadvantaged. Kasi alam mo naman, no, nung pagkatapos natin, nung sinara natin yung mga school, nagkaroon tayo ng mga home learning. So nagkaroon tayo ng mga online lessons, nagkaroon tayo ng mga worksheet or modular lessons, whatever you call them. Pero nalaman natin, there was a study done by Nuffield Research at saka ng Educational Endowment Foundation na yung poorest fifth ng ating mga bata, they are spending 1.3 hours less than the richest or the richest family or the children from the highest income families. So 1.3 hours a day. In a week, that's roughly about 6 hours a week. In 10 weeks, that's 60 hours a week. So yung gap mo doon sa mga mahihirap na mga bata at saka yung mga batang may wealth, palaki ng palaki. And that is your job as a government, is to actually narrow the gap between the disadvantaged pupils and the other pupils. Dito nga kinakabahan na tayo kasi ang sabi ng Educational Endowment Foundation, the work that we've been doing to narrow the gap between the disadvantaged pupils and the other pupils has already been reversed. Yung work na yon, Rose, I've been very much a part of that work. Most of my work as a teacher and as a school leader has been around closing the gap between the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich. 2 decades na namin ginagawa yon. Ang sinasabi ng Educational Endowment Foundation, na-reverse na yon. Ibig sabihin, bumalik na naman yung malaking gap na yon. But we're talking about the UK, where actually, everybody has almost the same access to the same quality education. Walang masyadong malaking disparity between the quality of education between the private sector and the public sector. So what's happening in the Philippines is quite disheartening kasi nag-umpisa na yung mga private schools sa Philippines that they're already teaching online. Yung mga public schools, the very sector that actually need more education so that they can have more in life, they're only starting in October. So in addition to the many months that they didn't have an education, meron pa rin, at lalaki pa rin yung gap kasi October lang pala sila magbubukas. Actually, that's not necessary because if they put actions in place to mitigate the risk, that is still possible. So for example, alam ko, mas malalaki sasabihin nila, di naman katulad dyan, 30 lang naman kayo per class, kami 60 or, it doesn't matter. If you have 10 pupils per class coming every single day, or coming a day each in a week, at least they get a day. Rather than not having anything. I think you have to have a go. You will have to have a go. Isipin natin yung kaya ng mga bata. Because I think in the Philippines, are we just joking ourselves to say that the online learning in the Philippines will work? Because we know yung mga facilities natin, hindi pa naman ganun kalakas, but also yung broadband natin, hindi pa ganun kalakas. Dito nga sa atin, ang ganda na ng broadband facilities. During the lockdown, ang mga parents, kasi sabay-sabay tayong nag-access, it was almost impossible.
That's true. Yes, before we proceed with our next question, tell us naman about that photo. Kasama mo naman si Kate Middleton. And
That caught my eye as well.
exactly, she was towering over you. Ang tangkad niya, Edison.
Wasn't she? And she was so slim as well. That was I have a, as I told you before, no, one of my passion is to close the gap between the disadvantaged pupils and the not disadvantaged and the other pupils nationally. And one of the things that I've been doing is that I try to look for opportunities para mabigyan natin yung mga bata ng experiences na otherwise they wouldn't get experience in their lives. And one of those programs is yung program ni, if you know, I forgot the name of the author, but he's a very, very well-known children's author. Meron siyang charity that runs farms for city children. So what they do is they invite a class from a city school na mataas ang disadvantage level. Tapos we only pay a minimal amount, and then they spend a week in a farm in Gloucester. It's called the Week Court Farm. It's an absolutely stunning experience, not only for pupils, but I enjoyed that myself because you get to work with the animals. You know, you can see rural life. And one of their sponsors is the Duchess of Cambridge, and that's why Kate Middleton was there. So I had an opportunity to have nagkaroon ako ng meeting with her. We discussed about the project. We discussed the possibility of funding further programs along those lines. She was so gracious. She was so generous. She had genuine conversation with the pupils. She mocked in as well. No, nilinis niya yung pig pen, naglinis siya yung bakura ng baboy. But it was such a high media profile event. So kasi hindi sila pwedeng lumapit. So we had this ang daming media personalities with their long lens na mga cameras trying to capture the event. And it was all over the world. No? Yung mga Hello magazines all over the world. It was there as well. So yeah.
Wow, great. Another unforgettable moment for you, meeting two royals na. Anyway, our next question will be related to the A-level fiasco. Kiara, would you like to also your take on that? Kasi discuss that to us yung sa A-level. What is this fiasco all about?
Okay, so from my understanding po, because I studied here in England as well, I did A-level. So every time we would do certain assessments, we'd get a predicted grade.
Yeah.
Am I correct po? Yes.
You are indeed. Yes.
Yes po. And what happened was, for our viewers, hindi po natuloy yung A-level exams.
Because of the lockdown. Yes.
And what happened was instead of being awarded the predicted grades, nag-base po yung mga grades na binigay dun sa mga estudyante based on the algorithm by the government.
It's a mathematical calculation. Yeah.
Yes po.
So now a lot of students are complaining about it because obviously hindi sila satisfied dun sa the way it was done. So ang tanong siguro dyan, Ed, is this: if the government is coming up, because syempre during the lockdown, yung para maging successful yung pagbabalik sa eskwelahan ng mga bata, etc., magkaisang magulang ang government towards that, right? Pero kung merong doubt or pag-aalinlangan doon sa measures that are being put in place, paano susundin ng mga estudyante o magulang yung mga rules na gustong i-implement or yung strategy na gustong i-implement ng government related to education?
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a political question and a procedural question as well, because you have to go back to intent. Ano ba yung intent ng government kung bakit nila minoderate yung mga grades, the predicted grades? Because the thing is, even without the government moderating it, you will never ever get a grade which is the same or similar to your predicted grades. I mean, individually pwede. Pero the whole country, di yan. Kaya nga merong clearing. Kaya nga merong mga gap year kasi they don't get their grades. So what happened was that yung mga sinubmit na mga predicted grades ng mga sixth forms, kung susundin lahat, magkakaroon ng super inflation ng grades. So ang ginawa ng government, minoderate nila ng konti. But the thing is, you cannot moderate collectively kasi ang mga tao ay individual yan. So yung mga factors ng moderation process nila, ng algorithm nila, mali kasi it was a collective arithmetic formula. You cannot really decide on on how well a child could have done sa test based on an arithmetic formula. So yun yung problema. Now the question is, ang tinatanong mo, hindi kaya nawalan na ngayon ng tiwala ang mga tao sa government. I don't think that will be the case because you had the case of Dominic Cummings, for instance. I think the thing with I think you would agree, people in England are actually very, very sensible. They look at the logic of things. So siyempre yung mga opposition, they will hurl all the accusations and everything. But I think people still make, they will still make sound decisions based on what they know is right. A good example of this is the eat out, help out. Diba? Yeah. Nung bago lumabas siyang eat out, help out na yan, sabi na, di ako lalabas para lang kumain ako for 50%. But look at what's happening. People are now starting to be confidently being, they're participating in the economy. So I think people make decisions based on what is appropriate and what is logical and what is sensible in front of them, rather than looking at historical mistakes. But also, this is not just a mistake of the English government, because the same thing happened in Wales and Scotland as well. We are in very difficult, very challenging circumstances, and I think people actually give leeway to their leaders when they make decisions. And I feel that with my parents as well. And I know yung mga parents sa school ko, sometimes they're very inconvenienced by some of the decisions I made. But they are showing me their support because they know that these are extraordinarily challenging times. And they reach out to you to make sure that you feel that you're being supported as well.
Correct. Thank you. Well, umabot na po ng kalahating oras ang diskusyon natin. Thank you so much, Edison. Ang dami, marami pa rin ako natutunan, no? And of course, yung bilang magulang, para sa akin, importante itong topic na ito. So, siguro, panghuling tanong namin sa inyo, bago kami ni Kiara mag-proceed sa second segment, ito yung tanong ng mga millennials, how to be you po? How to be, paano nila mapupuntahan yung landas na tinahak ninyo to follow into your footsteps?
Oh, that's a very, very difficult question. I think you just have to you have to work hard, because nothing comes free in this world. You have to work hard. But also, when I came over here, I felt that I have to be 5 steps ahead of everyone else. So if people are reading 2 books, I read 4. So if the teachers around me know the curriculum that they're teaching, I actually made sure that I know the curriculum of everything. But also, I never asked for promotions, because they came as a reward of what you put in, day out. It's what you do on a day-to-day basis that really matters. The subtotal or the collective of what you do, even the littlest thing that you do, kapag pinagsama-sama mo yan, it actually what makes you, and actually what makes the perception of other people of you, and then you get the reward in the end.
Maraming salamat. That's very inspiring. So, Edison David, maraming salamat po. Thank you for enlightening us with your explanation and also your inspiring words. Magbabalik po ang Juan EU Konek.
Maraming salamat.
Yes, nagbabalik po tayo sa Juan EU Konek. Salamat po at napakaganda ng discussion natin on the first segment. Ngayon naman po, dadako tayo dito sa second segment. Meron po tayong mga matututunan ngayong araw mula kay Kiara at mula po sa akin. And sana ay magkaroon po kayo ng inspirasyon sa gagawin lalong-lalo na po ni Kiara.
Opo, something light for today.
Yes,
So
something like
anyway, yes po, welcome back to the UK. Pang ilang araw na po kayo dito? On your quarantine pala.
Thank you, Kiara, pang 7th day na namin na pagka-quarantine. Galing ng Pilipinas, alam mo naman ang patakaran when you come back to the UK, kailangan ka mag-self-quarantine for
Yes.
14 days. Kung wala kang symptoms, self-quarantine ng 14 days at home. Pero, alam naman natin na mayroong listahan ang UK ng mga countries na excluded or exempted doon sa 14-day quarantine. So makikita po natin yan sa official list ng Home Office kung saan po ano yung mga bansa na pag pumasok ka sa UK ay hindi mo na kailangan mag 14-day quarantine. Yes.
Opo, so tell us about your travel po. Nakita ko sa Facebook and it was also shared on our Facebook page yung mga travel preparation nyo. I saw you also wore the PPEs like our previous guest last week, si Ms. Marites. So how was that experience po?
Actually, na-inspire ako ni Marites to do that one kasi nga pinadalhan niya rin ako ng PPE, and thank you so much Marites Allen for giving me that, and for Julia. Yan po ay galing sa Friga, yung PPE na binigay niya sa amin. So, ang maganda doon, Kiara, kasi pag may suot kang PPE, parang mas kampante ka na hindi ka, parang mas protektado ka. So, when we went to the airport, hindi pa kami nag-PPE kasi ang init sa Pilipinas, di ba? So, mainit. So, nung pagkatapos naming mag-check-in, saka kami nagsuot ng PPE. And then, up to, syempre sa airplane, at saka, nung bumaba kami, kasi ang layover ko is Dubai, pag-landing namin sa Dubai, nagpalit din kami ng damit kasi ang advice ko doon sa mga magbabiyahe, kung pangangatawanan po ninyo ang pagsusuot ng PPE, kung mayroon kayong layover o stopover, mas maganda na 2 PPE ang suot ninyo o ang dala ninyo para doon sa layover, magpapalit ho kayo ng PPE. So, okay naman. It went well. And then, as I said nga, pang 17 na namin ng quarantine. So, hopefully naman lahat ng mga ginawa namin sa pagbabiyahe ay nakatulong para hindi tayo magkaroon ng sakit.
Ang galing, talagang full battle gear po kayo, no? And I also saw you had the UV light, the magic wand.
Yes, also provided by our friend Marites Allen. You know what, yung UV light na yon, sabi nga ng asawa ko, paano mo nalalaman na mag-work yan? Bakit? Wala namang guarantee. Yes, wala namang guarantee. Yung mga alcohol na yan, alam na natin na nag-work, di ba? Dahil kung ilang porsyento yung alcohol dyan para pag-disinfect, etc. Pero yung UV light, ang sinasabi kasi doon sa gadget na yon is that papatayin niya yung mga virus on the surface. So, wala namang mawawala sa akin kung gagawin ko rin yon sa mga uupuan namin. Kailangan gamitin ko yung UV light na yon, mapapagod ba ako? So what?
Whatever makes you feel more secure, di ba?
Secured and plus, kampante, that's the important thing. Kasi kung magta-travel ka talaga with a child, importante na mas alert. Kasi di ba, ang mga bata, mas marami silang hinahawakan. And
they're
then
vulnerable.
Vulnerable talaga. And they forget, they touch their face a lot.
Kaya
so, yun. Sa mga kababayan natin na sumusubaybay po at humihingi sa atin ng update, gusto ko lang sabihin sa inyo na yung pag-uwi po ninyo sa Pilipinas, nabanggit ko ito in our past live, na walang bayad nung umuwi kami doon at sinwab. Kasi ang polisiya naman sa Philippines, pag landing mo, isa-swab test ka. Sa UK, self-quarantine. Doon, kailangan kang iswab. Walang bayad sa NAIA. Ang may bayad po sa Cebu at saka sa Pampanga. Now, ang bagong regulasyon, lahat po, kahit kayo ay, kung kayo ay overseas Filipino at hindi po kayo OFW, ibig sabihin yung hindi kayo nagtatrabaho sa ibang bansa na may kontrata kayo, lahat po ay magbabayad na ng swab test.
Alright.
Yun ang bagong regulasyon.
So, kumusta naman po yung situation dun sa airport sa Manila and then sa UK?
Well, Kiara, magkaiba kasi ang strategy ng UK at saka ng Philippines eh. Ang strategy talaga ng Philippines is that you have to swab at kailangan mag-quarantine ka. So yung mga naririnig nating balita noon about chaotic and dami-daming panahon ng paghihintay ilang oras, it didn't happen to me. Because obviously, yung unang linggo ng June, naghahanda pa rin lang ang gobyerno, ang iba-ibang departamento para sa pagdating ng mga OFW or ng mga overseas Filipinos, no? Pero ngayon, nagkaroon na ng sistema na to put that in place in the airport. Alam ko na hindi gaanong maganda yung experience sa iba nating kababayan, pero sa akin, sa experience ko, it was very well organized yung arrival namin at napakabilis. Napakabilis ng lahat. Hindi ako naghintay ng matagal sa airport. I think natutunan na rin through the first, second, or third week kung paano yung pinaka-effective way of doing the swabbing at yung pagpapauwi sa mga OFW, sa mga hotels and all. Pero mayroon pa ring mga ilan-ilan na nagkaka-problema. So sa UK naman, ang alam ko, I'm just self-quarantining. Meron tayong mga kababayan, alam ko na lumabas ng bahay. Hindi ko po yan irerekomenda dahil kailangan maging responsableng citizen tayo. Stay at home, tapusin po ninyo yung 14 days na quarantine. And let me tell you, nalaman ko na rin, alam mo, reporter tayo, may mga nagbigay sa atin ng impormasyon, may mga kababayan tayo na random check at wala sila sa bahay, binigyan sila ng fine.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
Opo.
Alam mo naman sa UK. Oh, nagpapakita si Chad ng mga photos. Yes, yes. Kasi alam mo, nagka-quarantine kami ngayon. So, kailangan namin na nasa bahay, maraming activity sa bahay. So, we're gardening, we are fixing the summer house. Yung sa gardening kasi, alam mo, may magandang excuse yung asawa ko na may fever siya. Pero I think excuse lang niya yun para hindi talaga siya magtrabaho sa garden.
But I can see Julie is digging well into it. Look at her.
Yes. So, yan ang aming quarantine days ngayon. Pang 17 na namin, Kiara. Ngayon, ang gusto ko na another 7 days na lang. So, isang linggo na lang at matatapos din ito. Now, itong gagawin naman natin, kasi alam mo, may anak akong maliit, meron akong trabaho, work from home, pero may mga kababayan tayo na nag-shielding at yung mga naubusan ng mga gagawin. So, I'm so happy that you agreed na magbigay ka ng konting tips ng pag-makeup. Kasi ito in preparation for us sa pagbabalik sa normalidad ng buhay natin dito sa UK. So mga kababayan na nanonood, si Kiara po, she's a model and she's a beauty queen. She was Miss Earth Philippines, Miss Earth
Air. Yeah, so first runner-up.
Sige nga, please tell us.
2016. Yes po, kaya nga po naka-bare face tayo ngayon since the beginning. So, even if I'm at home po, dito sa phase lockdown, I still try to go about with my routines. It seems really something really simple on the surface, but it really played a role on, keeping me busy. Well, not busy, but it played a role in my mental health. It brought back a sense of normality. So, let's start. So first and foremost, ang una ko pong ginagawa is I sanitize my hands before touching my face. Ano lang po to? Alcohol, just normal alcohol. Just to make sure na my hands are clean. So, ayan. we just do that. And then ang una ko pong nilalagay before everything else. So I don't have anything on at the moment. Lipstick lang po. But yes, I put on this essence. So this is an essence just to rehydrate the skin. Tapos meron din siyang SPF for sun protection. So that's what I do. So I just put a little bit before everything else. Ayan. So it just makes me feel like you know, I'm still going about my day na parang normal day pa rin siya na walang lockdown.
Yeah.
So yun, I just put it on. Kaya po ako walang makeup kanina nung opening.
Oh, kahit
Opo.
naman wala kang makeup, Kiara, maganda ka pa rin.
Naku, salamat po. And another thing is, it kind of helps me with my productivity kasi parang pag nakikita ko yung sarili ko sa salamin that I look so miserable, I'm in my pajamas. We always associate like yung pajamas to being kind of like a rest day, ganun. So I like to do my makeup. And then after that, I just put tinted sunblock po. Kasi hindi po ako gumagamit ng foundation kasi it's so heavy on the face and
Mm.
it's just so much easier po para kasi pag foundation kailangang plakado pa na you have to do it with a brush, but with me naman I just do it with my hands po. Para super bilis lang. Ayan.
So this type of makeup, Kiara, that you're doing, it's your day-to-day makeup, right?
More or less po, yes.
Mm.
So when I used to go to university nung nag-aaral pa po ako, ganito na lang po yung ginagawa ko para mabilisan lang. And siguro over the years po, na-master ko na din na kahit mabilis lang, kaya yung parang full glam, ganon. Pero this one I'm just doing it quickly lang, every day. So
Okay.
So that's the base
So-
done. Opo. Yes po.
Base done. Okay. Kasi ang alam ko, Kiara, importante yung base eh. Kasi kung hindi maganda yung
Opo.
base, like your foundation and all, baka maging, parang nagme-melt, di ba? Lalo na kung
Opo.
pupunta ka sa mainit na lugar, right?
Or under the lights din po.
Mm-mm.
Or another, ang opposite naman niya is it could look really cakey. So, you have to be really careful with putting too much on or yung mga powder. Ganun. And then after that, I just, kasi syempre medyo nasa-stress po when you're in lockdown, ganun. Nawawala ng tulog. So, I like to put a little bit of concealer lang dito sa ilalim. Just to brighten up the under eye.
Okay.
Super bilis lang. Ayan. So this concealer is just a little bit lighter than my actual skin tone para... Let me get a mirror. Ayan. And so, medyo awake ng tingnan. And then after po nun, because we did kind of like a tinted moisturizer or sunblock, we kind of lost definition on the face. So we just kind of bring that back using a contour powder. There we go. So para lang magkaroon ng warmth and shadow ulit sa face.
Okay.
Just a little bit po.
Show us the product also. Bahala na sila kung they have their own product or
this one is from Urban Decay. So this is their Naked Shapeshifter palette. So I like this one kasi meron siyang it has a powder. Ayan, medyo gamit na. It has powder and then it also has you can flip it. Tatlo siya. You can flip it. Tapos meron siya yung uso dati, yung cream contour. Ayan, that everyone was doing. So, but I don't do that kasi po, masyadong heavy po.
yes.
So we just do that.
So you're just doing your your foundation, your blush on, and you don't put any contour, and you don't put anything onto your eyes.
Super quick lang po. Parang ito, I also use my contour powder. So just the browns as well para lang you bring back the definition of the eyes. So
okay.
Ito lang since chinita po ako, I only do it dito sa outer corner para it kind of emphasizes the eyes. Na super light lang. You can barely tell that you have eyeshadow on. So, you kind of make a crease. Kasi po, yung mata ko po maliit.
Okay.
So even if I do heavy makeup, ganun din po yung I just put it dito sa corner and then I make. Hindi siya yung sa buong lid po.
I see. And Kiara, syempre
Yes.
this is your basic makeup, no? Parang
Opo.
if you want to go out, see some friends, day makeup. Pero syempre iba pag ang makeup mo naman ay pupunta ka sa party,
Event.
of course.
Yes
Event,
po.
yes.
That takes so much longer po.
Longer ba yon?
Opo. But
Of course.
it's more or less this type of makeup, but much heavier, I guess. So, itong brown na nilalagay ko, siguro I'd put a darker shade of brown.
Siguro sa next session natin, you should sample us with that, no?
The full.
At saka, yes, at saka yung
Opo.
yung pag nasa pageant competition ka, 'di ba? Syempre kung pinapadala ka sa iba-ibang lugar and all, so kailangan marunong ka talaga mag-makeup. At saka ano yung makeup na pang stage, may ilaw, ganyan.
Yes. Sa akin po kasi natuto ako mag-makeup because when I was being trained in the Philippines, we were told that it's really essential na matuto kaming mag-makeup. Kabisado namin yung mukha namin because every makeup artist, no matter how good they are, of course they'll be amazing at their craft. No one knows your face as much as you do.
Yes.
Kung ano yung mas bagay sa'yo. And then, ganyan lang po.
Oo.
Super natural, super quick lang. So whenever I see everyone at Jack, pag nagpupunta sa mga meeting before lockdown, ganito lang po yung ginagawa ko. And then just curl my lashes quickly. Yan, parang wala. Ayan.
So that's it.
Opo, and then blush na lang po and super quick lang. Mascara. There. And then quick cream blush. So this is the blush I use. Gamit na. So cream po siya. So I just do it with my hands.
Oh, fantastic. Great. So habang tinatapos mo yung yung finished look mo, magbabasa lang tayo ng mga greetings natin sa ating mga nanonood na fans, taga-subaybay, supporters, kamag-anak, kaibigan, kapamilya, nandyan na ho.
Yes, lahat na.
Yes, lahat na nandyan. Our kumare Marites Allen, love to wearing Rose Eclarinal. Thanks for wearing I Love Friga. Of course, nandyan ang aking sino pa yung nandito? Si Danny Muyot. Back to work ako September 1. Pero takot ako, vulnerable ako because of my age. May diabetes siya at frontliner si Mrs. So ingat kayo, Danny. Ingat po kayo. And also a familiar name here, Edmond Lexer Eclarinal is my brother. Great topic tonight. Salamat. And also, sino pa? Viva Andrada O'Flynn.
Oh, hello.
Salamat natin siya. Hi, Viva. Salamat for watching.
For watching again.
Yes, ang atin pong kaibigan, Rainier Ballesteros. Dapat ay pupuntahan ko sila sa Pilipinas para ma-interview. Pero dahil po bumalik ang area namin sa GCQ, ay hindi po kami makalabas at hindi ko siya na-meet. At sino pa ba ang mga nandito? Ang ating pong kaibigan, Edgardo Gahastian Enriquez. Hi, Ed. Salamat sa panunood ninyo. Thank you. Mag-comment po kayo sa mga gusto po ninyong topic na talakayin po namin sa mga susunod na episodes po ng Juan EU Konek. Also, my uncle here is watching from Pampanga, Anton Taday Prima. Good evening, Uncle. Thank you for watching. And so, yan po ang mga pagbati natin sa mga nanunood po ng Juan EU Konek. Magbabalik po kami para sa Immigration 101. Now, this is our public service segment, Immigration 101, with Solicitor Crystal Dias. Hi, Crystal.
Hello, hi Rose. Welcome back to UK soil. Hello po si Crystal Dias this Sunday on Immigration 101.
Yes, Crystal. And I'm so excited kasi ito ay isang topic na malaki ang interest ko. Imagine, um, the horror of being trapped in a household with an abusive employer, more so during the lockdown. Reportedly, 21 to 45 million people are trapped in some form of slavery today. It's also called modern day slavery and sometimes human trafficking. I'm keen to listen to the story of our guest today and to know more about this topic. And how can we fight this kind of abuse? So, Crystal, please take it away.
So, according to the International Labour Organization, more than 40 million people worldwide are victims of modern slavery, more than 3 times the figure during the transatlantic slavery. Can you imagine po yan? 40 million people worldwide. So, what is modern slavery? Modern slavery is a serious crime that violates human rights. Victims are forced, threatened, or deceived into situations which undermine their personal identity and sense of self. In some cases, victims may appear free to move and leave the house of their own free will. However, they may not have meaningful freedom of movement due to, for example, a lack of bank account, finances, or identity documents, which means they must return to their employer. Some other indicators, such as acting as if coerced or controlled by another, fearful and emotional about their family or dependents, withholding wages, very common, including deductions from wages, debt bondage, abusive working and or living conditions, and of course, excessive overtime. In the UK, the pandemic has thrown a number of problems. According to Kalayaan, a registered charity advocating and supporting migrant domestic workers in the UK, the general concern is if there is a deep recession, the number of domestic workers' jobs will be drastically reduced, such as workers may end up in exploitative jobs because of the need to work. So they'll have to accept reduced pay, and there is no recourse to public funds. Kalayaan is also concerned that some workers will remain in abusive situations and will not be able to leave or may be too frightened to leave. They are also concerned that the need to work may result in some workers putting their own and others' health at risk. Luckily for one, I have Maria. It's not her real name. She's with me here today. She escaped her former employer who mistreated her. She was working in the Middle East and came to UK with her employer. She had no choice but to continue to work because her family needed the money. Now, I'm gonna phone Maria kasi po wala siyang access sa studio natin. So just bear with me. Hopefully po it would work. So tatawagan ko na po siya. Can you hear po ba yung ring? I just hope she will answer. Okay, let's try her phone line.
Hello?
Hello po, Maria. Si Crystal po ito. Nadidinig niyo po ako?
Opo.
Okay po. Gusto ko pong itanong sa inyo, ano po ba yung life ninyo sa Pilipinas bago kayo dumating po sa Middle East?
Ano po?
Ano po yung buhay ninyo sa Pilipinas bago po kayo nag-abroad?
Ay, mahirap. Mahirap na mahirap.
Yung ilan po ang anak ninyo?
3 po.
3 po ang pinag-aaral ninyo?
Opo.
And paano naman po yung asawa nyo? Ano pong klaseng ang trato po sa inyo?
Ay, naku po, grabe. Kasi po, palagi naglalasing. Tapos umuwi sa bahay. Palagi kami binubugbog.
So, ang dinicide nyo na po, kayo po ba ang talagang naghahanap buhay para sa mga anak ninyo?
Opo. Ako lang naghahanap buhay. Doon sa Pilipinas, ginagawa ko naglabandera ko na mamasukan ako sa mga bahay para makapaaral ko mga anak ko. Para hindi matuto sa akin na walang pinag-aaralan.
Paano po kayo nakapunta sa Middle East?
Meron akong kaibigan na dumating ex-abroad, tapos yung simula kasakitang nanay ko, walang tumutulong sa amin, walang mapautang kasi sabi nila, hindi ka, anong ibabayad niyo, wala kayong pera. Tapos merong dumating na isa kong kaibigan, pinakiusapan ko na tulungan mo ako kasi paano ko makapaaral ang mga anak ko kung hindi mo ko tulungan. Tapos siya rin tumutulong sa akin.
So nung nagpunta na po kayo sa Middle East, yung pong amo ninyo, ilan po sila?
5 yung anak niya, tapos 2 sila mag-asawa.
Sabihin niyo po sa akin, kung ano po bang intrato sa inyo?
Ay, sobrang hirap ng nila sa akin kasi konting pagkakamali ko lahat ang sinasabi. Mga hayop, hindi...
Tinatawag po kayo ng hayop?
Opo, palagi ako minumura. Tapos minsan yung ibibigay ko sa kanya kung hindi ko maintindihan, ibabato sa akin.
Ay, grabe naman po yan.
Opo.
Itanong ko po, magkano po yung sweldo ninyo?
Dati, sweldo ko, 730. Tapos,
Ano po yung Riyadh?
Oo, 730 riyal.
Ano po yan? Per buwan po yan? O linggo?
Buwan yun. Buwan.
So, ano po yan? Ang equivalent po niyan, mga 180 po ba? O mga, talaga pong mababa sa pounds yan.
Opo, mama. Mura talaga ang Saudi.
So, mga 150 pounds po, o 180 pounds po per buwan, per month ang sahod ninyo. At nag-aalaga po kayo ng 5 anak.
Opo.
Tsaka 2 po yung yung amo nyo, yung mag-asawa. Okay po. So, ano pong ginawa? Na sinabi niyo po sa akin, yung isang anak may ginawa sa inyo?
Opo, yung babae. Kasi Ramadan yung nagpa-fasting kami. Tapos, sabi niya, sarang yung palda na pangloob, sabi ko doon sa kabinet. Sabi niya, wala. Tapos, hinanap ko doon. Tapos, sabi nakita ko, sabi niya, saan mo nakita, sabi niya. Sabi ko doon sa kabinet, sabi niya, wala. Sabi ko, bakit nakita mo ba umakyat ako, may dala ko? Nandiyan, sabi ko, ang mama mo, nakikita niya. Tapos sabi niya, sinungaling ako, tapos binato niya ako ng unang, tapos hindi ako lumalaban. Tapos yun, sinakal niya ako.
Sinakal kayo?
Oo, sinakal niya ako. Tapos yung nanay niya, gumagapo sa akin, hindi niya kaya. Sa amin, hindi niya kaya yung anak niya. Tapos sabi niya, pauwiin mo yan, sabi niya, kaya ayaw ko. Sabi ko, sige, uwi ako.
Ilan taon po yung anak niya?
Yung anak niya? Ngayon, noon, 17 yung dumating ako, 17.
17 po siya ang
Opo.
ang nagsakal sa inyo?
Opo.
Ay, grabe.
Opo.
Paano naman po ang yung pagtulog ninyo?
Natutulog ako minsan, Kasi minsan lumalaya siya, ikasama ako, uwi siya alauna, minsan alas 2, kahit saan pumupunta. Tapos hindi niya maisip pa yung kumain ka na ba o ano.
Teka lang po, anong oras po kayo nag-uumpisa ng trabaho?
Alas 4 ng umaga.
4 o'clock po ng umaga. At anong tapos niyo po?
Hanggang alas 2 na matapos makapahinga.
Alas 2 po ng umaga kayo natatapos. So, alas 4 po kayo nag-uumpisa ng umaga, tapos po, alas 2 na rin po kayo matapos ng trabaho nyo. So, magiging 22 hours na po yan.
Opo.
Ang haba naman po ng ng oras ninyo. Grabe.
Kaya nga, tapos yung
paano naman po yung pagkain ninyo?
Ako lang bumibili. Kasi may pagkain sila. Bumibili siyang araw-araw isang manok. Tapos sa kanya yung lahat. Wala sa katulong.
So, wala pong kayong pagkain sa bahay. Kayo ang bumibili ng pagkain nyo?
Oo, kasi hindi ka makakuha doon kasi madaling maubos. Sabi niya, madaling maubos, hindi natin po kahit silang kumakain. Kasi nasabi, hindi siya kumakain. Sabi ko, hindi ako kumakain ng pagkain niyo. Bumibili ako ng pera ko.
Okay po. So, nung nasa Middle East po kayo, dumating po kayo sa UK. Kailan po kayo dumating sa UK?
May 20, 2019.
Okay po. And ano pong trato nila sa inyo sa UK? Ganun pa din po?
Ganun pa rin, ganun pa rin yung trato niya sa akin. Minsan makaiyak ako, tapos meron akong kaibigan na katulong pumunta dito, hindi ko kaano-ano. Tinatanong niya ako, kumakain ka na ba? Sabi ko hindi. Tapos binibigyan ako ng pagkain. Tapos mayroon ng isang araw na nagluluto ako ng kanin. Tinanong ako ng amo kong babae, kanino yan? Sino nagluto sa'yo? Sabi ko, nagluluto ko, sabi ko, kasi baka kumakain hindi ko sinabi ako lang kumakain. Kasi gutom ako, nahiya ko. Tapos sabi niya, wala namang kumakain. Tapos sinagawa niya, inilagay na lahat at lahat, pinapakain niya sa mga atlong, hindi na sinabi na, huwag ka na dyan, kumain ka. Hindi. Nagagalit pa sa akin.
Galit pa sa inyo kapag kayo ay kumakain?
Galit siya kasi sabi niya, bakit nagluluto ka, hindi ko na walang kumakain. Paano yung katulong? Anong kakain? Wala lang natuturo.
Ay, naku po. Okay po. So, pero po kung ganito po yung trato sa inyo, hello po, nandiyan pa rin kayo? Maria? Okay. Nung nasa Middle East po kayo, umuwi kayo, tapos umuwi po kayo sa Pilipinas, di ba po, para makita niyo yung mga anak. Bakit bumating pa rin pa kayo? Nag-continue po kayo magtrabaho sa amo ninyo kung gano'n naman po yung trato sa inyo?
Tutong taon na po kasi yung dalawang taon natin,
Maria, hindi ko po kayo madinig.
Yung magdadalawang taon na ako, sinabihan ko yung amo kong babae na, Mama, sabi ko, hindi ako uuwi. Yung ticket ko, perahan ko lang kasi yung nanay ko may sakit. Sabi niya, hindi ka mauuwi, bakit ko ibibigay sa'yo? Tapos hindi na ako umimi kasi takot na takot ako. Kaya sabi ko, sana ko sabi ko, sana ko pupunta, baka maabutan ko na lalo pa yung ugali niya dito.
So, hindi po kayo umuwi? Hindi po kayo umuwi kahit...
Umuwi ako, 7 taon na po, umuwi ako.
Oh my God. Katagal po kayo sa Middle East na nasa 7 taon para po makita niyo yung mga anak niyo, pero kasi po kayo di ba ang nag-aalaga, padala po ng pera, kaya po kayo bumalik sa amo niyo. Tama po ba yon?
Opo.
Tapos po dumating kayo sa UK ho, ganun pa rin po yung trato sa inyo. Tama po ba yon? Ngayon po, kailan kayo, ano po nangyari? Nung hindi nyo na po matiis, ano po nangyari?
Umalis ako. umalis ako ng bahay, natutulog sila, lumayas ako.
Tama po yung ginawa ninyo. Tama po. So, ano po na ngayon ang nangyari sa inyo?
Tapos meron akong nakilala isang kaibigan na sabi ko, pwede ba titira ako dito? Sabi niya, bakit? Sabi ko, lumayas ako sa amo ko.
Lumayas
Tapos
na kayo?
Opo. Tapos yung lumayas ako, sabi niya, tapos isang buwan ako sa kanya, pinalayas niya ako kaya natatakot siya. Tapos sabi ko, naglakad-lakad ako dito, naabutan ko ito yung tinitirahan ko. Sabi ko,
so safe, ayos naman po kayo. Safe na po kayo, di ba?
Opo.
Okay. Tapos po, ngayon, lumapit po kayo sa akin. At tapos po, ni-refer ko po kayo sa Salvation Army. Ano pong ginawa nila sa inyo?
Palagi tinutulungan niya ako. Binibigyan ako ng pera na isang linggo na 30 pounds. Kada linggo-linggo, binibigyan ako nila ng 30 pounds.
Okay po. So, ang nangyari po sa inyo ay, ano po yan, grabe. Ako po ang magsasabi sa inyo na ang nangyari po sa trabaho nyo sa Middle East, grabe. Dito po sa UK ay grabe. At para lang po, titiis kayo para sa mga anak niyo po, diba? Na makakapag-aral nyo. At saka po sa nanay ninyo. At ang masama lang po, hindi naman po tumutulong ang asawa ninyo. So,
palagi lalasing.
Okay po. Ngayon po ay gusto ko po kayong pagsalamatan na ibinahagi niyo po ang inyong istorya para po sa mga tao, mga kababayan na nasa same na sitwasyon po ninyo. So, magpapasalamat po ako sa inyo ulit at magaling po kayo. Salamat po. Sige po, mag-usap po tayo mamaya. Bye-bye.
Opo, thank you. Bye.
So that was Maria. And basically, as you've heard, the situation that she had to go through, the experience she had while she was working for her employer. Can you imagine? She was working from 4 o'clock in the morning, finishing until 2 a.m. She was not given any food. She was mistreated by the children of her employer, physically hurting her. But she had no choice because she had to support her family back home. And it sounds so familiar, po, but it's something that we have to do something dito sa UK, and they have. And I'm so glad po kasi sa UK, they're so good po at helping yung mga victim po ng modern slavery. So now, if you do decide to help, if you want help po sa sitwasyon ninyo, you have to contact these organizations. I don't know, Chad, if you've got my slide about the first responders. Now, kung kayo po ay biktima ng modern slavery, there are places you can go for help po. They are called first responders. Basically, they are authorized to assess po ang sitwasyon ninyo and refer you sa home office if you are actually a potential victim of modern slavery. So we have Barnardo's, BAWSO, Kalayaan, Medale Trust, Migrant Help, New Pathways, NSPCC, Poppy Project, Refugee Council, the Salvation Army, and Unseen UK. So, mangyayari po kapag na-refer na kayo sa case nyo sa home office, you will get access to support and a formal decision. To help make a formal decision, the personal information is shared with organizations such as the police and the home office. Decisions are made in 2 stages. The first stage is reasonable grounds decision, and the second stage is conclusive grounds decision. Now, an application to the Home Office can be made for discretionary leave. This means outside the rules, once the applicant has a positive, conclusive grounds decision from the Home Office. As you heard po, si Maria, she's getting help from the Salvation Army. She's getting 30 pounds per week. So referring a potential victim can give them access to support such as counseling, legal advice, and housing. Maria is actually lucky because she has a friend who's helping her with housing. You can request emergency housing and medical care immediately. Other benefits will only be given once their status as a potential victim has been confirmed. So all potential victims in the UK are entitled to support. So, if you know anyone po na nandito sa sitwasyon na yon, please do ask for help. There's help available po sa UK. And any friends po na magre-refer sa inyo to go to Kalayaan or other first responders na mention ko po, please do contact them. I would like to thank the barrister Alex Milbrook of Kalayaan for giving me valuable information, and of course, Maria for sharing this chapter of her life. So that's my segment today on Immigration 101.
Thank you, Krista. Congratulations. Ang haba ng Tagalog mo. Na nosebleed ka ba doon?
I've tried. I've been practicing, and kasi po, si Maria, she cannot speak English. And of course, I had to try my best. I can speak Tagalog. Obviously, it's a little bit broken. Pero po, the message that I wanted to tell the viewers, nandun po. And I hope that everybody actually can take some sort of lesson in this segment, because modern slavery is happening. It is real. But you can get help po sa UK.
Yes, Crystal. At saka, we decided to, focus on this topic kasi nga alam natin na sa panahon ng lockdown, mas marami ang cases ng pang-aabuso because hindi ka pwedeng lumabas ng bahay. Yung tensyon ngayong panahon na ito, lalo na kung ikaw ay kasambahay, between kasambahay and amo, ay napakalaki dahil ang mga tao confined lang in a limited area. Kaya imaginein po ninyo ang kalagayan ng ating mga kababayang Pinoy na kasambahay at hindi makalabas ng bahay, naaabuso at biktima ng modern day slavery. Sana po, katulad ng sinabi ni Crystal, ay nakita po ninyo yung mga organisasyon, institusyon na pwede po ninyong tawagan at pwede pong magbigay ng tulong sa inyo. There is a way out. As Crystal said, meron pong paraan. Ang ginawa ni Maria dahil abusado ang kanyang amo, ay tumakas siya at nakakuha po siya ng tulong. Sa mga kababayan po natin na mayroon pong panahon o meron po kayong pagkakataon na umalis po sa inyong abusive o yung amo po ninyo na mapagsamantala sa kalagayan po ninyo, ay sana ay magkaroon po kayo ng tsansa na makahanap ng tulong at meron pong mga solicitor, advisor, immigration consultant na pwede pong tumulong sa inyo. At nandito rin po ang Immigration 101, ang Juan EU Konek. Kung meron po kayong problema na nais po ninyong idulog sa amin, nandito po kami para po mag-mediate at bridge para po sa mga organisasyon o institusyon na pwede po natin hingian ng tulong. So, Crystal, on a lighter note, maybe you should read some of the greetings of your relatives, friends, fans, kapamilya, kaibigan, lahat na nanonood po ngayon sa Juan EU Konek. Ayan, I saw one.
I also always, Carmen Hickey, she's always listening. There you are. And also from Philippines, Johnny Celestino and LV Chang. I believe also as well, our Kumare, she's also following us today, Marites Allen. I'm not sure if you've seen that message
Yes.
earlier, but thank
Yes.
you for following Juan EU Konek. As always, po, it's always a pleasure doing Immigration 101.
Yes. And we have here Desiree Corvite? Corvite? British name na ba ito? Yes. Where can I report? The Philippine Embassy in the United Kingdom. They're not giving slots on their website. No reply from website, emails, calls. Well, ipapaalam po natin ito sa mga sa konsulado, konsulado, hindi ko sa embassy at mga kaibigan po natin o ang mga opisyales po ng embahada na nanonood ngayon. Ma'am, sir, kung meron pa daw po bang slot, pero Desiree, siguro lawakan din natin yung pangunawa kasi lockdown, limited po yung oras ng pagbubukas ng embahada, so hindi po lahat ng message ninyo ay mababasa nila at hindi po lahat ng hihingi ng schedule ay mabibigyan po ng schedule because nga phased lockdown pa rin po tayo dito sa UK. Ang pagkakaalam ko, hanggang December na ang schedule sa embahada, sa consular office ng Philippine Embassy. Yan po yung naririnig ko sa ating mga kababayan. Is Kiara there? Kiara?
Social distancing, right, Rose?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's not easy to work in that office, if they're trying to observe like 1 meter, 2 meter distance. It's not easy. They are doing their best. I'm sure they are.
At saka, syempre, we have to understand na kukunti lang yung tao na ma-accommodate dahil nga dyan sa social distancing. At saka, yung pong pagpupunta nyo sa embahada, hindi po kayo talaga ma-entertain kung wala po kayong appointment. And now, we can see Kiara with her makeup. On the spot yan, ha? Ginawa niya yung pagme-makeup kanina.
Gorgeous girl.
Yes, Kiara, you don't need makeup. But, as somebody mentioned before nga, when you are facing someone on a meeting, kahit ngayong panahon ng lockdown, put a little bit of lipstick, blush on. That would probably boost your confidence more. No, so it may difference din kasi kanina very pale yung mukha mo.
Very alive. Opo.
Yes, that's right. Okay,
so the only thing if you're wearing lipstick and you put your mask on.
Yun nga, that's always the trouble. Pag tinatanggal mo yung mask, may lipstick lagi.
Siguro that's also a good indicator na kailangan mo nang palitan yung mask. We don't repeat the mask para na rin sa, for your own safety, Kasi maraming kung paulit-ulit din yung mask, doon it defeats the purpose.
And also the use of reusable masks. They're quite good, but do not forget to wash them.
Do not forget to wash them, correct. Yes, meron din akong babasahing greeting dito from Demi Coach. Kaibigan natin po ito from Switzerland. Yes, Demi. Thank you for watching. Sabi niya it's heartbreaking. Ito I'm sure she's pertaining to the story of Maria. Yung storya ni Maria. So ngayon, Crystal, wala na po siya sa kanyang abusive employer, no?
Yeah.
Tumakas na siya.
She's in a good place. She's in a good place.
She's in a good place. That's good. Okay. Ito, si Annie Soriano. That is true, Ate Crystal. As long as the madam is awake, the kadama not allowed to sleep. Annie, salamat sa comment mo, Annie.
Thank you, Annie.
Kung gising pa daw si madam, hindi talaga makakatulog o makakapagpahinga ang kadama. So kadama kasi po yung mga marami tayong kababayan ang galing po sa Middle East at dinadala dito ng kanilang amo at sobra-sobra yung trabaho na pinapagawa sa kanila. Siguro Crystal and Kiara, in the future allocate pa rin tayo ng time para dito sa topic ng modern day slavery kasi marami tayong kababayan, in fact, yung mga kilala ng community leaders ngayon ay dumaan sa ganitong kasawimpalad na kalagayan, na naabuso ng amo, but, they were able to escape at natulungan sila ng iba nating kababayan. So, yun. Meron pa po ba tayong mga pagbate, greetings na miss? Jessica Jane Santos is watching. Salamat po for watching. Ang masipag po nating associate producer, Jay Montelibano,
Yes.
MacLeod. Yes, pagsasagot
And
lahat
of
na lahat ng
course,
tanong.
don't forget our technical director.
Director.
Yes.
Okay. Chad, thank you.
Thank you po,
Chad,
Kuya
thank you
Chad.
for
Very hard to
sorting
say,
out
I'm so
the
sorry.
sorting out the problem, the audio problem of Maria. So buti na lang natawagan siya ni Crystal. Anyways, natapos na po ang ating isang oras. Lumagpas na naman po tayo sa isang oras. But Crystal, you were listening to the first segment about our topic on education. Marami ka ring matututunan doon being a
Yes.
mom yourself.
I have 2 children and they're due to go back to school in September.
Yes.
It's good to know what's going to happen.
Yes. Okay. So, mga pagbati and kaway-kaway sa mga kaibigan. Meron pa po ba tayong nakalimutan?
Oh, my dad's watching. Hi, Papa.
Hi po. Thank you for your support. So, abangan po ninyo ang Juan EU Konek sa susunod na linggo. Huwag po ninyong kalilimutan kung mayroon po kayong mga topic o problema na gustong idulog sa amin, mag-inbox po kayo, babasahin po namin ang mga mensahe po ninyo. Kasama po namin kayo sa pagkonekta sa mga Pinoy sa Europa ngayong panahon ng pandemya.
Dahil ang kwento ni Juan sa Europa ay kwento ng bawat Pilipino sa iba-ibang sulok ng mundo, lalo na sa panahon ng pandemya.
We are doing this show to educate, inspire, and we hope to entertain you.
Thank you to the National Lottery Community Fund for being our funder in this project. Kontra Corona, kabayan, we will be serving you in the next 6 months. Ako po si Rose Eclarinal.
Ako naman si Kiara Gregorio.
And I'm Crystal Dias.
Hanggang sa muli
Hanggang
po
sa
sa
muli.
Juan EU Konek.
Juan EU Konek.
Juan, saan ka man dalhin ang kapalaran? Iisang bayan lang sa puso mo'y laman, tinagmulan at babalikan. Konting tiis na lang at hanggang sa araw na yan ay